The Pesach tells us, Bamidbar tes, Vaidaba Hashem al Moshe leimor, Dabel b'nei Yisrael leimor, ish, ki yeh tomei, lo nefesh b'derech v'choyke lochem, oy ledoyesechem, v'osu Pesach laHashem. So we know that the Torah spells out for us the sugya of Pesach Sheini, which is where we're holding today. Pesach Sheini, a gavaldige day, which we'll talk about B'siyata D'Shmaya in a few moments. I just want to spend a few minutes understanding what is Pesach Sheini, where does it come from, who's it for, and what are we meant to be doing on this day? So the idea basically was, in the Torah spells that we just read the pasuk, that if a person was an oines, or he was tomei, or he was too far from Yerushalayim, then he was allowed to make Pesach Sheini. Pesach Sheini was said especially for him, that he should be able to have a Yontiv of Pesach, because he could not celebrate the first Yontiv of Pesach. The Chinuch, in the mitzvah Shin Pei, when he discusses the mitzvah of Pesach Sheini, how does he understand the mitzvah of Pesach Sheini? What is the Shoyrish HaMitzvah? Where does it all come from? So the Chinuch says a beautiful thing, and he explains to us like this. He says we have to understand, Pesach at the end of the day is the Yisoid, the Shoyrish of all our emunah. Right? We know this from the Ramban at the end of Parshas Boy. We know this from many of the Gedolim that said if a person wants to learn emunah, a person wants to go into the sugi of emunah, it's all Pesach. Everything begins from the Yontif of Pesach. So Pesach is the Yisoid of emunah of Klal Yisrael. It's the Shoyrish of everything we believe in. Says the Chinuch, we want to make sure that every single person has an opportunity. Says the Chinuch, and he writes this, look it up in the beginning of Mitzvah Shin Pei. He says how important it is to have this Yisod. We don't want anyone to be left behind. And therefore, we want to make sure that even if a person did not manage for whatever reason, you know what's interesting is that we would have thought up until this year, where is this Nageya? Where do you have such a situation where a person, Bisman Beis HaMikdash, person was Tomei, person was far away, person was an Oinus. Good, so he wasn't Isaac in the Pesach, Korban Pesach, he has to have a Pesach Sheini. Where do you have such a thing in 2020? Where do you have such a Metzias in our generation? And unfortunately, we've heard stories of people that, really, really got very, very sick with Corona, who missed Pesach, who missed Pesach. And there's a Yid in the area over here who just woke up a couple of days ago. And he missed the last few months of his life. And I'm assuming he'll be celebrating Pesach Sheini. So it's an interesting thing that we find that even in our generation, such a thing, of people that are actually being Isaac in this. And again, the reason, says the Chinuch, is because we want to have everyone to have an opportunity. Nobody should lose out from the chizuk that Pesach gives. That's an incredible idea that the Chinuch brings down. Another idea that we have to mention as well is there's an interesting machlokes actually Tanoim. What happens, it's not, unfortunately wasn't the Negea this year, but maybe next year, but hopefully way before that, what happens if the Beis HaMikdash is built between Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheini? Will there be a Pesach Sheini or not? Because really, if there was no Beis HaMikdash by Pesach Rishon, so nobody did the Korban Pesach. So will there be a Pesach Sheini or not? That's a machlokes Tanoim actually. We're not going to go too much into that at this moment of time. Let's move on. Interesting question. When is Pesach Sheini? Today. What is the Hebrew date today? Yud Daled. Now that's a little bit of a problem. Why is that a problem? Because we are remembering Pesach. When is Pesach? What are we doing today? A little bit of a problem, right? It shouldn't be today. Pesach Sheni should be tomorrow. So what are we doing on Yud Daled? And we'll talk about the Minhagim in a moment. So there's a Mordechai Yavitz. The Yavitz explains that there are two reasons they were Kiveya Pesach Sheni today on Yud Daled. What's the reason? Number one, he says the Yavitz, the food that they took out of Mitzrayim lasted them for 30 days. A Yud Daled at night was the last night that they had a Suda from the food that they took out of Mitzrayim. Therefore, the Nes continued. Everything, Mitzias Mitzrayim, the Matzah, everything continued until today. Says the Yavitz, that's the reason they were Kiveya today to be Pesach Sheini. Reason number two, says the Yavitz, is in an Ibushon, right? In a year that has an extra month, which is next year, for example. Really, Nisan could be the extra one, and Iyar could be Nisan, and therefore they Kiveya it today. Why is it called Pesach Sheini? Because it's Sheini to the first one. Why is it Pesach Cotton? Because it's more Mekel in the halachas. Is it a Yontef? So Rashi in Bamidbar Tes Yud says, Ein Shem Yontef. However, there is a Medrash. The Medrash in the Yalkut Shimoni, and I'm going to quote you the Medrash. Oma Reb Levi, B'chol Chodesh v'Chodesh Shebekayitz. Every single month during the summer months, Bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Litein Yisrael Moyed. The Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to give Klal Yisrael a Yontef. B'Nisan Nosan Lem Pesach, B'Iyah Nosan Lem Pesach Sheini. So it comes out to feed the Medrash. Today's the Yontef. As I state, right? The Yavitz Loshen is Hu Yontef Shel Divreim. It's the Loshen of the Yavitz. So it's a very choshev day, as we know. Obviously, we don't say Tachnun. Shail, if we say Lam Letzech, most Ashkenazim generally do, but Tachnun for sure not. And there's a minhag in Klal Yisrael to eat matzah. We eat matzah on Pesach Sheini. Don't worry, for all of you that were worried. I have matzah. Mitzvah Shem, the reason I didn't serve it by breakfast is I want us to understand a little bit about Pesach Sheini before we eat the matzah. So we're going to be serving it Be'ez Hashem by lunch. And that's the minhag of Klal Yisrael. Number one is a zeicha to the Pesach Sheini, and number two, I'll be the Medrash that they finished the matzah that was brought, as we mentioned before, from Mitzrayim. Okay, so there's again back to the same question, and that is, if we're remembering the matzah or the korban Pesach that they ate, it wasn't on Yud Daled, it was on Tes Vov. So what's going on over here? What's the pshat? So there is an interesting klichemda on Parshas Vers Chanan. The klichemda brings the Avnei Nezer that has this question about why we're eating matzah on Yud Daled when we're really remembering something that happened on Tes Vov. And he says the chiddush, very big chiddush, he says the chiddush of Bal Tosef is to eat matzah in the middle of the year. But shaloi bizmana, if you're doing the mitzvah, shaloi bizmana, you need kavona to be over on the Issa. Which means if you're not having kavona to be over on the Issa, there's no Bal Tosef. You're not adding to that which the Torah said, and therefore there's no problem. But he says, Bismanenu, says the Klichemda from the Avnei Nezer, you're over on Bal Tosef even without kavona. And that's why we eat matzah on Yud Daled, not Tes Vov. This way we've got no problem, because Leil Tes Vov is the Zman of eating matzah on Pesach, generally in Nisan. Therefore we dafka eat on Yud Daled. Now, the Chazon Ish wrote down, that's not our minhag. We do not eat matzah. Interesting enough, I was once in the house of Hagoyin Rebbe Zul Obach Shlita on Pesach Sheini, and I made sure that I took a peek into the kitchen to see what he's eating for lunch, and lo and behold, there was matzah on the table. Okay, Kach Re'isi. The River of Ephraim brings down as a tshuva in Chedik Beis that he says it's the minhag of Hasidim. It's not our minhag, as I state in the River of Ephraim, but many of the Rebbes, many of Hasidim Avada, the minhag is, and here in Yeshiva we're going to be having it for all of those that I want. A question. Do we have to talk about Yisippi? Somebody asked actually this morning, do we say Hallel today? Is there a chiyuv of Sippi Yitzis Mitzrayim today? Hello? This is beautiful, very nice, beautiful. And Achanami, he's right, there's a chiyuv every day, right? 100%. But is there more of a chiyuv? The same chiyuv we have on regular Pesach, do we have today? What's the kasha? What's the shaila? First of all, every single one of you should have answered yes. And the reason is very, very simple. There's a Mishnah in Pesachim Tzadihei Omid Aleph. And the Mishnah in Pesachim famously says there is no nafkamina between Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheini. Except what? Bal Yira, Bal Yimotza. That means Pesach Rishon, you're not allowed to have chometz. Pesach Sheini, you can have chometz. That's it. First Mishnah, that there is no nafkamina between the first Pesach and the second Pesach. That means between today and the Pesach you had almost a month ago, just over a month ago, yeah? There's no nafkamina, except today you can eat chometz. That means everything else is the same. According to it's a Mishnah. According to that Mishnah, we should have Tzipah, Yitzias, Mitzrayim. It's Mitzvah Daraisa, right? We're talking about Daraisa over here. We're not talking about the Morad, Rabbanim, and Hagib, Nisa. We're talking about Daraisa. Tzipah, Yitzias, Mitzrayim. What's going on? What happened over here? There's a Moedikas Vasemis. So Semes brings this kasha down, and he says no. He says, you know why? Because Tzipah Yitzrayim goes with Hallel. Memela, there's no Hallel today, there's no Tzipah Yitzrayim, right? The Pnei Menachem, one of the Gay Rebbes, brought down the Sefer Pardes Yosef. He says, why is there no Tzipah Yitzrayim? Since this mitzvah is for people that could not do it, right? And therefore, they should. But it must be that the Pesach Sheini is Pesach Sheini itself. Just be Mekayim the mitzvah, just remembering Pesach Sheini, says the Ger Rebbe, the Pnei Menachem, it's enough to be considered to be a Sippi without having to actually say anything whatsoever. The Chidah writes today, Yarbe Ktsas Besimcha Ki Kodosh Hayoim. Chida. Okay, very holy day today. The Maram Ash, Tamid Heiliger Tamid Chasam Sofer, would eat dafka a cooked egg tonight on Leil Tezvov, like people do on Leil HaSeder, right? Maram Ash, Tamid Chasam Sofer. The Darkei Chaim Vishulim, from Minkach, brings the Minchas Eluza that would sing in his Seder today, Adahu Yivne Beisa B'Karov, as I state. Many of the Sfadim make a tremendous simcha by the cave of Rameh Balanes in Tiberia. They learn his Torah, they light candles over there, like Ba'omer of Meron. There are some people that don't like that minig, they dafka right against it, but I'm not going to go into that. There's an old minig in Tzfas, dafka on Pesach Sheini. The whole Tzfas goes, men, women and children, to the Tzion of Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, and you light the candles over there, and you sing, and you dance, and you daven over there. That was the old minig in Tzfas. Let's just end with one last Gavaldige aside to understand what is Pesach Sheini. Okay, so these are the Menhagim, this is the Makoris, this is where it comes from, this is why it's Yadalit. What's the Pshat? So again, we spoke about this in the beginning, we mentioned the Psukim, that these people were Tomei. They were Tomei. They came to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they said, Moses, we didn't have a Pesach. What should we do? We want to do Pesach. Lama Nigara, why should we lose out? Why should we be worse? Why should we be worse off? Because we were Tomei. Moshe Rabbeinu consults with the Rebbeinu Shalom and says, don't worry, Pesach Sheini. I never heard such a thing in my life. Where do you have such a thing? You slept in, not you, somebody slept in on Sukkot morning. He missed out Daled Minim. He missed out. He forgot, whatever, he didn't do it. He wakes up after Sukkot, he comes to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, hello, I missed Daled Minim. Sure, no problem. A month after Sukkot, take your Daled Minim, start shaking. Havaldi. Well, there's no such thing. Never happened before. Well, what's Pshat? What does this mean? 100%. No one's saying it's their fault. And the 100% Onis Rachmona Patri. That's part of the Yesod for Ket. They had every reason in the book. Every excuse. They were potter. Not Pshat, they overslept with the Onis and with the Poshea. They lost their alarm. It didn't hear the alarm. They were a complete Onis. They were Tomei. There's nothing they could do about it. The halacha was that they couldn't celebrate Pesach. That was what halacha told them. That was Ratzon Hashem. So instead of them saying, that's what Hashem wants, that's what we'll do. So we won't keep Pesach, right? Right? Zusha, in the prison over there. I don't have Mincha. I'll do whatever the Rebbeinu Shalom wants. Whatever the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from me, that's what I'll do. No, so they didn't do that. The only time you find such a concept over here, and the Rebbeinu Shalom was kaveh for them a yontef, l'doiris for all generations. Because they said, Lama Nigara, why should we be worse? Why should we lose out? Well, we know, Oinus Rachmana Patri, the person is Oinus, he's Pater. He's Pater, you know. But it doesn't always work that way. And the lesson of Pesach Sheini is exactly this. You know, you have a guy, for example, he goes to university. And on the first day of class, he has a very, very, very close friend's chasana. A very close friend's chasana, he has to go, right? The next day, he's got his aunt's, she's making some kind of Chanukah Sabayis, just moved into a new house. It's a very important, his parents said it's very important to go. He has to go. On the third day, he's got his brother's bar mitzvah. My brother's bar mitzvah, I should miss my brother's bar mitzvah, what should I do? On the fourth day, right, you can see what's going on over here, right? Right, comes to day number 12, he's got his second cousin once removed, neighbor's cat's bas mitzvah, also very, very important to go for these things. Right? These are, it's a mitzvah, what should I do? If I'm not going to be about the chasana, do you realize the chasana just partially, he won't have a chasana without me? You heard this before, right? If I don't go to the chasana, there's not going to be a chasana. I make the chasana, right? Every guy thinks he's the guy that makes the chasana. Gavaldik, okay? So every day at university, there he is. Now he missed, right? Now, very good excuses. He comes to the graduation, you know, the day when they throw out the black hat things, whatever it's called. I don't know, is that the day it's called graduation, right? The black hat, the square black hat, throw it in the air. He comes to that day, and he comes in and says, okay, where's my paper? Where's my certificate? you weren't here. Listen, I had a good excuse. What? Bas mitzvah, bar mitzvah, wedding, this, that. Every day a Gavaldik excuse. That's beautiful. You know, all the excuses in the world. But the mindset doesn't mean that you should say, I'm Potter. That is the whole Yesod of Pesach Sheini. The whole Yesod of Pesach Sheini is these people could have come along and said, I'm Tomei. I'm potter, I'm fine. I'm too tired, it's not for me, my Rebbe turned me off in 9th grade, and my chavrusa is not good, I'm in a bad mood, the weather is bad, the weather is good, a million reasons why. I could say many things about our lives that we do not do because we have excuses. And they could be the most amazing excuses in the world. But yet, the Torah over here is teaching us that when a Klal Yisrael, when a Yid comes to the Ribbono Shel Olam and says, Ribbono Shel Olam, lo manigora. Yes, it's true, I have excuses, I have reasons, ADD, ADHD, ADDDD, all the names in the world, all the excuses. Kavaldik, you can use every pill in the book. But at Maisa, I want to do it. I want to come close. I want to come better. Maybe, says Reb Tzadok HaKohen, a person in Sfiras HaOimeh, who at this moment didn't really work on himself, didn't do too much. He just didn't get there yet. Comes Pesach Sheini. The message of Pesach Sheini, says Reb Tzadok HaKohen, is exactly this. It's never too late to make up for it. You can chaperein. Again, excuses we all have. And we can go through our entire life with excuses, and they could be the best excuses in the world. And they're true. Just like Klal Yisrael had excuses over there, we were tomei, we were an oinus, we couldn't get there. What do you want from our lives? And what did the Ribbono Shel Olam do? The Ribbono Shel Olam brought them close and said, fine, we can be kovei of them a yontif. This is the biggest chizik for anyone that ever uses an excuse. The chizik is that if you come, and this is what Tzadok HaKohen is telling us, when you come to the Ribbono Shel Olam, say, Ribbono Shel Olam, maybe until now I didn't do so well. My davening wasn't what it should have been. My learning wasn't should have been. My shmiras alosh and my shmiras nine. All these things, I didn't get there yet. I didn't get to where I'm meant to be. You take Pesach Sheini, you take the message of Pesach Sheini. Lo manigora. I can have every excuse, but I still want to do it. And if you do that, just like the Ribbono Shel Olam there gave Klal Yisrael a second chance, say the Svar Makdosh and the Ribbono Shel Olam on Pesach Sheini gives every single one of us another chance. Let's take the opportunity, take the chance, let's do this, and Be'ez Hashem, if we show the Ribbono Shel Olam that we really want, the Ribbono Shel Olam will come close to us. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.